Good morning, everybody. Okay, I wanted to really quickly share this. I listen to a lot of podcasts about health and lifestyle, and I enjoy different opinions all the time. But there is something that really ticks me off, which is when people talk about balance. First of all, balance means something very different to everybody, so it's a really not quantitative thing. But of course, the thought of balance, that's good. Like, what does it mean? Not too much, not too little, like, not feeling guilty about things that you do and have in terms of food as well. But when it comes to health per se and healing, I really don't appreciate when people that are actually not educated, they're not naturopaths, they're not MDs, they are, and even nutritionists sometimes, like, okay, you study nutrition, it's brilliant, I study nutrition, but it is a limited course when it comes to healing ailments or understanding the body, because it just focuses on one thing, which is nutrition. So just like MDs can specialize, say, in dermatology and then pigeonhole themselves in that practice, nutritionists can do the same. And I did that for years until I studied naturopathy. But when it comes to healing, you have to understand one thing: balance sometimes just doesn't cut it. When you're trying to rebuild tissue, when you're trying to really give your body a chance to rebuild, to regenerate, there you have to go 100%. Now, I understand that a lot of people see, like the whole fruit or just juicing, and they make it a trend and it becomes a diet, and then people just get into trouble because they were not unhealthy. They just did this as a crash diet, and then, it can sprout into eating disorders or deficiencies, of course. But when you are, unfortunately, that's the reality of our world. People take things out of context, and then we start labeling these practices as extreme. But what I think is extreme is somebody that suffers. Like, I have clients who are as young as 19 who have basically, they live in a status of acidosis the whole time since they were kids. So their tissue is damaged. And if I have a client like that, I am going to be like, okay, we are going to be a little bit extreme here. We're going to put you on a raw, mostly fruit, hydrating diet, and we're going to have herbs that are going to open up the channels of your lymphatic system. This is the training I have with Dr. Morse. I believe in it. I've seen it work. So is it forever? No, of course not. I'm not going to say this kid is going to live on fruit forever. And in fact, we have a protocol that we follow. So depending how good or bad it is, she has to heal, she has to regenerate a lot of stuff in her body, so it will take time. Another client of mine suffering from constant edema because the lymphatic system wasn't draining. We've been doing the protocol for a month. She is looking amazing, she is feeling better, she hasn't had this bout of edema. Is there more to do? Yes, because we're regenerating a body that has been suffering for a long time. Those are chronic issues for these clients. They're not just, whatever. Then add to it that, of course, the 19 years old is okay with their hormones, in terms of not having to deal with perimenopause and all that stuff. And see, she has a regular period, but she's on the pill. And then my other client, she is in her 40s. So, of course, like me, going like every woman from 35 up, now she's also dealing with shifting hormones. So we have to adapt. But the whole point is that we want to give the body a chance to regenerate. And to do that, you have to perhaps go a little extreme for what is conventional. Does everybody have to do that? No. So please don't take these protocols out of context and make them diets, because this is what is causing a real problem out in the world. And then people are confused, and then they start blaming the scapegoating, the low-hanging fruit, which is like, oh, these things are extreme, so they are the problem. No, people are the problem, because they don't understand what balance actually means. So if you want to teach balance, let's teach about how to have a life that is fulfilling, a diet that is fulfilling and feeling good, and also understanding even the question about processed food. What is processed but actually good for you? What is hyper processed and ultra processed and not a food you can make at home and not good for you? And honestly, this is really simple. I don't know how people are confused about this, but it is unfortunately the case that they are, and we have to just understand that it's not It's not complicated. We just have to strip it down to easy things to follow. And I really think we can change a lot. So that's what I wanted to vent about. So when we do podcasts and when we do interviews and when we do shares online, and I know sometimes it's only 90 seconds, but can we just be a little more thorough with the caveats, and also, just understanding that there is a context for everything. Thank you.